Good morning, Acadiana. 6:31 on a Thursday morning, September the 10th. We've got a big show, at least 30 minutes left in our big show here. I'm Dave Baker, joined now with Katie Lopez over in the newsroom.
You know, Dave, a lot can happen in 30 minutes. Like we have a lot of news. We also have weather to talk about. And, you know, just so you can get a feel of what the weather's doing, we just kicked Daniel Phillips outside. So that's where we're going to head right now for a quick look at your forecast. Good morning, Daniel.
Not a bad start to the day at all. Nice clear skies. It really doesn't feel too bad out here. We've certainly had worse feeling mornings. That's still warm, and you can feel it's still a little sticky out. But the afternoon's going to be hot. Enjoy kind of this coolish weather, I guess, this morning before the sun comes up fully, because when it does, temperature's really going to skyrocket. Here's a look at your out the door forecast. Highs today get up to about 93 degrees in the afternoon. It is going to be a hot, humid one today. We have the heat index. It's going to push up right around 100. We got some scattered showers on the way for tomorrow afternoon, and that's going to set the stage for what could be a fairly wet extended forecast. More details on that coming up here in just a little bit.
We begin our news this half hour with a developing story in Lafayette, where one person is in the hospital following a shooting. Now, here's what we know this morning. Police responded to a call of shots fired Wednesday night in the 700 block of Priscilla Street in Lafayette. Police say the victim ran to the Circle K on the thruway near Chalmette Drive. Right now, they don't have a suspect. Call Crime Stoppers if you have any information. Happening right now in Opelousas, police there are asking for your help in finding 14-year-old Nia Williams. Police say that she left her father's home Tuesday night with all of her clothes and belongings. She hasn't been seen since. Williams is considered a runaway. If you have any information on her whereabouts, you're asked to call Opelousas Police or Crime Stoppers. We have new information this morning surrounding the death of Trayford Pellerin. We've learned that court records have been sealed. Now, here's what we know about the case. The three officers who were on leave because of the shooting were granted a restraining order, which prevents their identities from being released. The restraining order also prevents the release of any statements, documents, reports, audio, or video involved in the investigation. Ron Haley, the Pellerin family attorney, and local activist groups have called on the investigating agencies to release information and body camera footage of the incident.
This is a stiff arm to the truth and preventing the truth from coming out, especially to the people that it matters the most, and that's the Pellerin family. And so that was disappointing. They will cite the privacy interests of the officers, but there are things that can be done if that is truly the concern, to protect the privacy interests of the officers.
Happening tomorrow, groups will march in Baton Rouge to bring more attention to Trayford Pellerin's death, but right now there are potential concerns about at least one of those groups taking part. The march will include stops at the Capitol, the Attorney General's office, and the Governor's Mansion. We've received a news release from The Village, a Lafayette activist group, stating they'll be marching with the NAACP, the Louisiana ACLU, but also the New Black Panther Party. The New Black Panther Party is a designated hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center, which describes it as a racist, anti-Semitic organization whose leaders who have encouraged violence against whites, Jews, and law enforcement. We reached out to The Village to see if they were aware of that designation. They said, quote, "Each group speaks for itself," end quote, and referred us to the New Black Panther Party. Pellerin's funeral will be held today at Philadelphia Christian Church. There'll be a public viewing between 9:30 and 11, and then services will begin. We know that the Reverend Al Sharpton will be speaking at the funeral.
With your complete forecast, here's KATC meteorologist Daniel Phillips.
Temperatures sitting in the 70s across Acadiana at 75 in Lafayette, as well as Alexandria and New Iberia at about 77. Nice clear skies out there. No real issues out on the roadways here early on this morning. No real problems out there through the majority of the day. I think the biggest thing is it's going to be hot. So while temperatures aren't too bad right now, 74 Abbeville and Jennings, 72 Opelousas, they do warm up into the 90s. Heat index value is going to be pushing up about 100 degrees by the end of the day today. You're going to have 75 out in Lafayette currently with winds from the northeast at 5 miles an hour. Dew points not too bad. They're at about 72. It'll feel a little bit stickier out there later on today. You've got temperatures that are going to push your way up to about 93 for the high. Will be close to triple-digit heat index by the time we arrive at about lunchtime. Stays clear all the way through the afternoon and into the evening. Now, tomorrow afternoon is when we will start to see some things changing. Tomorrow morning is going to be fine. Clouds start to creep in tomorrow afternoon, and scattered showers start to pick up later on in the day. Heavier rainfall out over towards the east. All of that tropical moisture works its way towards us, and that does mean that we are unsettled through the weekend and getting into next week as well. In the meantime, plenty of sunshine for your Thursday. Winds from the northeast at 5 to 10 miles an hour. A little bit of a breeze this afternoon that will help us out just a little bit. Otherwise, mostly sunny skies. It is hot out there again for today. The evenings seem to be getting a little bit cooler. At least the overnight lows seem to be trending a little cooler as well, which is encouraging to see. Then you've got the lower 90s for Saturday and Sunday, but that's coming with a lot more wet weather, which will continue into next week. In fact, we'll have a look at that extended forecast at the top of the hour. 6:36 right now, 75 degrees.
Well, later this morning, Louisianians could find out if we're moving into phase 3 of the coronavirus recovery process. That highly anticipated press conference with Governor John Bel Edwards expected to happen at 10:30. The current phase 2 order expires tomorrow. Under phase 3, more businesses would be allowed to reopen and certain restrictions would be loosened. Now, this decision will be made after the Louisiana Department of Health reports slightly inflated case numbers due to a backlog of testing. There are more than 1,500 new cases of COVID-19. 22% of those cases are in Region 4, which covers most of Acadiana. 6,000 more patients are presumed recovered.
A new emergency order is restricting the release of names of schools reporting coronavirus cases. Last month, the Department of Health started tracking cases on their website. Now, so far, about 400 schools have been enrolled and 59 cases were reported statewide. We reached out to all of the school systems in Acadiana to see how they plan to report cases. So far, Iberia reporting 1 student in isolation and 2 employees who are quarantined. The Jeff Davis superintendent says no one is tested positive, but 4 to 5 students and staff have decided to self-quarantine. In St. Martin Parish, 1 student is self-quarantined. New this morning, a peaceful protest is scheduled for today and Friday at the St. Landry Parish School Board office. It's expected to begin at 9 a.m. in reference to reopening schools. This year, students in St. Landry Parish are doing virtual-only learning in school this year.
An influx of mosquito clouds following Hurricane Laura are so thick that they're killing cows and horses. Veterinarian Craig Fontenot of Ville Platte says that the swarm drains the animals' blood, leaving them exhausted and unable to keep moving to avoid them. Fontenot says hundreds of animals have been killed in his 5-parish district since the storm passed. Electricians from across the U.S. are helping to get power restored in southwest Louisiana. Meanwhile, other groups are aiding recovery efforts in the best way that they know how. An Indiana-based group aimed at helping veterans is stationed at Henning Memorial United Methodist Church in Sulphur. Volunteers and staff with the Journey Home serve lunch and dinner every day until supplies last. And one local veteran says that his employer introduced him to the group, and since then he's been able to get the food and support he needs.
You got to pick yourself up in that, and it's been rough and that, but it just makes you feel so good that there's people out there and organizations out there going to come in and help us.
Well, we have a big update this morning on a story that you helped with. The donations given during Friday's Spirit of Acadiana Day of Giving are now in Lake Charles. Now, this is what it looked like yesterday as cars lined up outside of the Throne of Grace Fellowship. Volunteers distributed nearly 17 tons of food, toiletries, and cleaning supplies to residents in need after the storm. United Way officials say that more donations are welcome.
In Vermilion Parish, the Kaplan City Council is appointing Joyce Carbo to her late husband's seat in the council. Her husband, John, died last month. A special election for that seat is set for March. Well, right now, state leaders are urging residents to complete the U.S. Census if they haven't already done so. Louisiana is 45th in the nation to census responses, and officials want to improve that number. Residents can fill out the census at census.gov or by calling 844-330-2020. The census is an impact on federal funds that come to Acadiana.
It helps us to determine our share of federal dollars that we're going to get for our hospitals, our communities, for disaster recovery, something that is close and near and dear after Laura, which passed through this area, for our schools, for our roads, for the departments. It also helps determine our congressional representatives in emergency services and so many more.
Happening today, UL is hosting their final day of community dialogue focusing on race and social justice. The panel discussions begin at 5 p.m. We have a full schedule at KATC.com. Well, the time right now is 6:40. Still to come on GMA. The Senate will vote today on whether or not to move forward with a new coronavirus relief deal. That's coming up. And Daniel, we'll have another look at our forecast, but first, here's this morning's Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God.
With Our Lady of Lourdes and Our Lady of Lourdes Women's and Children's Hospital. Good morning, Acadiana.
With your complete forecast, here's KATC meteorologist Daniel Phillips.
All right, everyone, let's get into that forecast now. We've got a pretty quiet looking day today. Things really not going to be all that bad. Those of you who are getting ready to run out the door, heading off over towards work, no real problems out on the roadways today. Warm and muggy out there for sure, but otherwise it's looking pretty clear. And right now, honestly, it doesn't feel too bad. Now, it is going to warm up very, very quickly today. It's going to be sunny. It's going to be hot, particularly that 4 or 5 o'clock commute tonight. Those temperatures expected to sit up at about probably 93, I'd say, for the high today. Heat index value is going to be up at about 100 later on this afternoon. Certainly the upper 90s, and we'll be upper 90s by the time we get to about lunch today. So very quick warm up. Do expect plenty of heat, but otherwise things are staying quiet. Now, we get unsettled as we get into the weekend, and this is a big part of the reason why. This is all tropical moisture that's coming in and going to be working its way across the central Gulf Coast. This sticks around day after day. This goes all the way through Sunday. Monday, still hanging around. Then you go from Monday, Tuesday onwards into Wednesday, still hanging around with nothing really that's going to be getting it to break up at all. So that is why we are going to be seeing the kind of day in, day out rain chances. And as things get a little wetter outside, of course, the mosquitoes are going to be coming out. I ran that story a little bit earlier on in the show about the mosquitoes and how bad they are out over in Cameron Parish. I'm probably going to be getting a little bit worse with all the moisture that we're going to be getting starting really tomorrow afternoon going through Saturday. They're certainly going to be out there today, and I think a little bit of a breeze and some drier conditions may help us out a little today, but in the long run, more mosquitoes on the way for this weekend. In the tropics, you've got a couple different areas right here. I don't think that this is going to do anything, and National Hurricane Center just kind of watching it. That was that depression that was going to work its way this way. This is all that moisture that I was just talking about getting up into the Gulf of Mexico. The rainmaker for next week. I don't think this develops into anything tropical wise, but again, it is a big push of moisture, and it's going to be the predominant rainmaker for us here as we go through the majority of next week. Back out in the Atlantic, you've got Renee, you've got Paulette, you've got another system coming off of the African coast right now with about a 90% chance to develop, and that's this one coming out here. And then two more disturbances back behind it. Sally and Teddy are the next two names that are on deck, are getting very close to the end of the alphabet now, and some of these are going to need to be watched. We'll see how the ridge expands, may keep some of them southwards down in tropical portions of the Atlantic. 6:47 right now at 75 degrees.
Thanks, Daniel. Well, new this morning, we're learning that the Postal Service got rid of more than 700 mail sorting machines over the summer. That's almost double the number USPS has thrown out in a year since President Trump has been in office. However, we're told that the decision was made in June before new Postmaster General Louis DeJoy came into the position. Well, right now, all eyes are on Capitol Hill this morning, where the Senate will vote today on whether or not to move forward with a new coronavirus relief deal. Now, the $1 trillion proposal has been slimmed down to $500 billion, and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says that he thinks Republicans will support it. However, Democrats have indicated that they won't accept a deal that small, leaving lawmakers stalled once again. Now, this will make it unlikely to have a deal by election time. Across the nation, we're learning that at least 4 teachers have died from COVID-19 since the start of in-person classes. This news has teachers' unions concerned over the final picture of the rest of the year. So far, Missouri, South Carolina, and Mississippi have reported teacher deaths. It's unclear how many national COVID cases teachers have had since the return of in-person classes. However, Mississippi alone has reported 600.
Growing wildfires in the Northwest are leaving behind a big path of destruction. Wind has been helping the flame spread, causing at least 3 deaths in Northern California. That fire's covering around 25 miles and threatening the town of Paradise, which was largely destroyed by the Camp Fire in 2018. In Oregon, wind's also an issue, with hundreds of homes now burned down. It's possibly the worst damage fires have ever done in the state. Well, New York City is preparing to pay tribute to the lives lost on 9/11 tomorrow. A ceremony at Ground Zero will take place to mark the 19th anniversary of the terror attacks, but officials say there will be some additional safety measures because of the pandemic, with the biggest change being no live readings of the victims' names. And instead, organizers will play recordings of family members reading the names. The Kansas City Chiefs will make an important statement tonight as they kick off the NFL season. The words "End Racism" are painted in the end zone. It comes after a long summer of Black Lives Matter protests and emotional calls to end police brutality. All 32 NFL teams are participating in the awareness effort to support social justice this season. The opposite end zone in the Kansas City field will have the slogan as well, and it reads, "It takes all of us."
Happening today in Lake Charles, Houston-based disaster recovery company Cotton Holdings will be distributing cases of water and meal packs to 1,000 vehicles. The distribution will take place in the Fast Signs parking lot from 11 a.m. until 3. Each vehicle will receive 1 case of water and 4 meal packs. Well, you still have time to donate to the Hurricane Laura supply drive in Evangeline Parish. You can drop your donations at the sheriff's office. Some of the items needed are cleaning supplies, extension cords, and first aid kits. All donations will be brought to the Calcasieu Parish Sheriff's Office on Friday. Well, power is back on at one of Entergy's power plants in Calcasieu Parish. A spokesperson with Entergy says the Calcasieu plant will restore electricity to thousands who live south of 210 and several other areas. The transmission line repair is another big milestone following Saturday when crews restored power to about 2,000 customers.
This morning, oil prices are down. Brent crude has seen a decrease of 46 cents with a price of $40.33, and West Texas Intermediate crude is down 59 cents, bringing the price to $37.46. 6:51 is your time right now. We'll be back to give you what you need to know before you go, and Daniel will have one last look at our forecast. Good morning, Acadiana.
From Lafayette, Louisiana. Good morning, Acadiana.
Here's your weather on the 3s.
Temperatures sitting in the 70s across Acadiana. It's about 77 in Lafayette, mid-70s, or 75 in Lafayette, 77 through New Iberia. You've got Ville Platte at 72, 74 out over towards Jennings. It is going to be another very hot day today. Temperatures eventually going to warm their way up, eventually to the 90s. And I think when all is said and done, we sit up at about 93 degrees today. Even hotter for tomorrow, but scattered showers on the way for Friday. And that's going to mark the beginning of what will be a very unsettled time period here. Saturday all the way through most of next week, you're talking 50 to 70% rain chances day in and day out. Moisture really gets stuck into the area. We took a look at the models just a little while ago, and you see that moisture all the way through at least Wednesday, and likely getting on into Thursday and Friday as well. For today, a little bit on the drier side. We're about 93 degrees out there for that high. Heat index up at about 100, I think, in the afternoon. The lows tonight get down to around 73, which isn't really too bad. I think the evenings have been trending in the right direction. It's the daytime highs now that we've got to try and get out of this low to mid 90s range. We'll be there again today, 93 today. Another hot one coming up for your Friday, which is going to sit at about 94 with showers on the way. I think if you're hoping to maybe wash the car this weekend, take care of that today. Maybe you got the scattered showers on Friday. Heavier rainfall expected Saturday, Sunday, both. Really not the best weekend for any kind of outdoor chores. I'd take care of it either today or tomorrow if you can. Temperature's going to be staying in the 90s all the way through into next week. So while we do have showers on the way, it is certainly going to be hot. 6:55 right now at 75 degrees.
Thanks, Daniel. Here's what you need to know.